morning, everyone. My name is Shu. The topic that I'm going to cover today is to really look into a more specific, I would say, a department in the organization. How cloud's going to help in the business. So we are taking the test and development team as an example. So today, if I'm really sure that a lot of our customers are already on virtualized environment. So let's put it in this scenario. If it's without cloud, how the whole total procedure and then how long it's going to take in terms of creating the VM, to getting it running for testing, and as you know, when they come to any issues or bugs, that particular VM will either be just leave as idle, and this particular resources is not utilized, and what the usual practice of the testing team is that they will just go back to the first procedure by just creating more and more VMs as they go along with the testing. So imagine how many cycles the creation of the VMs that will take place. This will incur VM sprawl. So what are the obstacles that the IT department will face when they come across VM sprawl is that they will always have to increase their resources in terms of the capacity or memory and etc. Second, in terms of management, there is no standard or control, and this creates a lot of headaches, or let's say hassle, when it comes to utilization of their resources. So having to make sure that there's always sufficient resources to supply to this testing team, it increased the cost of IT. So we're talking about making sure that we always have additional hard disk space, as well as the licensing in order to support the testing development requirements. So how, if we were to look at today's technology, what we call as HP Cloud, customer can either just consider getting the MOE or CSM, which is going to help to cut down the cost of IT. And how that's going to help, I'm just going to put it in the procedure. So now we look at this one. When customer use MOE, this is a self-help portal whereby customer just have to pay an additional of approximately $400 per server license. And what this portal is going to help the customer, or in specific in the testing team, is instead of having to create the VMs, all they need is just submit VM request by using MOE, and this will be routed to the approval. And not forgetting that during the approval stage, they have got the rules in place, the industry standard in place, as well as the time period of how long this particular VM will be required. So once it's approved, the VM will be assigned, and this will follow the industry standard template. And resources will be automatically allocated. As long as it meets the requirements, as well as if there are sufficient availability of resources. Otherwise, it will just go back to the requester, and then it will inform the requester that it's not meeting the standard requirements, or currently we do not have enough resources. And I'll come back to that one to share with you what will happen if there's not enough resources. So let's assume that everything goes through and VM is assigned, and they can just carry on with their testing as usual. And whenever there is any bugs or issues, when they encounter this, remember how the previous infrastructure, where whenever they have issues or bugs, they will have to leave that particular VM, and then they'll create a new one and go through the whole testing process again. So if you were to put this on cloud environment today, when they face bugs and issues, all they do is they just submit a request via MOE, okay, to release this VM. So that you won't have VMs unused or idle in the environment, and you can have that released to the network for the other team in case there's any other requests. So then after that, they will go back to submitting new requests and have a new VM created. Then we mentioned about what happened if there's not enough resources today. So let's say imagine currently they only have like 3 tera of capacity left, but this project requires maybe 6 or 8 tera, and the requester will be prompted with the node and letting them know that there's not enough resources, and they will be provided with an option which is called bursting. So what this bursting lets the user do is that it gives them the option or alternative to see whether they want to burst into HP Cloud services or Amazon that is already in place today, and just pay for the additional 6 tera of capacity space that they need for the time being, while at the same time at the back end they will acquire or purchase additional storage, and then when they have got the resources in place, then they will just terminate this contract. So overall, I hope that you can see a clear difference of how today without cloud, even though you are already on a virtualized environment, how long it takes, and how it's not that easy to manage the infrastructure as well as the number of VMs that you have today. We actually have a real case study whereby the customer has over 25,000 VMs to take care of, and all of them are running on individual platform, or say different OSs. So imagine in an IT department they will need to allocate, let's say if there are altogether 20 screens to take care of, then they need to allocate at least like maybe 10 IT people to manage and administer this. And if with cloud, they can reduce that to maybe 5 IT admins, and then it will free up the rest of the 15 to focus on the rest of the projects. And as a whole, why would I get you to consider HP? First of all, we are the #1 IT vendor which provides end-to-end solution. So if you were to go with the CSM or HP Cloud System Metrics, we have single contact of support. So you don't have to worry about calling in our support line and getting the phone being passed down to one after another, and still having to repeat your issues to them. And we have certified installer who will be on site, and not forgetting about an assigned PM who will sort of be there to make sure that you meet your project timeline. And last and not least, we have HP Financial Services, where if you need to purchase your SAN switches, your blade service enclosures, you can have that as a pay-per-use mode. so you don't have to worry about paying a large sum of amount upfront, and you only need to make sure you have sufficient operation costs to start off with, which is MOE licenses. And once all that is in place, as you grow, everything will be sort of automated, and should you have any problem or you need any advice on how to improve the efficiency of your applications and services, there are always the certified support people from HP who will help you on that.